Salute, Nick family. Welcome to the Queen's Court. I'm your host, Stephanie, aka Queen, and as always, we have a lot to talk about. You already know what it is. Y'all know where I am, so make sure y'all keep me up to date on my audio and video. But enough of that. The Knicks are up 3-1 in this series versus Detroit. We went into Detroit and got not one, but both games, which I think if you asked anyone after our performance in game two, none of us, if you asked us what was the chances of that happening, I think all of us would have, of getting both of them, would have chosen less than 25%, right? But we went in there and we got both of them. The Knicks, and we'll get into it. We're going to get into game four. We're going to get into the series as a whole. But what I've been most impressed with is how the Knicks came out in both of those games, got off to good starts to take the crowd out of the game and just kind of remove that emotional factor, remove being down 10, 12, 14, and having to work your way back into the game. They played with a sense of urgency and pace at the beginning of those games, and it's impressive. And we have an opportunity Tuesday to close this game out at Madison Square Garden. We can't come out thinking that because we're home, it's going to be any easier. The officials feel like they need to be a little extra diligent, with the foul calls, given what happened in game four. You don't know. You have to be prepared for everything, including a downright dogfight. I'm with Geoff from the Happily Ever After Klafter Daily Sports Blog, also resident panelist on the Just Nick and It Weekly Show on my channel, Dope Soul Sports Talk. Geoff, how are you? Shout out to the chat, by the way.
Whoo, doing great. Let's get one more. I'm super excited. That ending was I was so excited when that when they didn't call that foul and we had more points than they did. I think my son and I jumped in the air and did a chest bump, and my chest still hurts. I think I collapsed a lung. I was so excited. So no, it was they're not the real winner of this series is my cardiologist, and I don't even have one yet.
Yeah, you might need one by the time this is over. We're gonna get, we're gonna get right into it. I'm gonna ask you to finish this sentence. Yes, it was a foul, or yes, it was a foul, but any one of those questions, and I'm leading with, we acknowledge that there was some contact, but whichever one of those questions you want to answer, Geoff.
Yes, it was a foul, but you wanted a street fight the entire game long, and if you're going to play tackle football for 47 and a half minutes, you can't complain about two-hand touch in the final 3 seconds.
There
Cade
you
make the
go.
shot, and then you don't have to worry about it. I mean, if you want to talk about contact, there was contact on Josh Hart down low on the rebound. The Hardaway, did he get hit? Yeah, but I mean, they had a play where Cade Cunningham literally pulled Josh Hart by the arm, pulled him to the ground, not making a play on the ball. Common foul. You had a drive to the bucket by Deuce where he gets clobbered across the nose. Common foul. I don't even know if they called the foul on that, but I think it was a common
Right.
foul. But anyway,
Right.
what I'm saying is if you're going to come with the smoke and you're going to say, we're Mr. Tough Guy, we're, this and that, and we're here to fight, you can't be, complaining about the little stuff. I mean, look, I say this all the time. One play at the end of a game is not what makes or breaks you. It's a 48-minute contest. And if Detroit fans want something to complain about Mr. Schroeder hot dogging it at the end of the third quarter and costing him team 2 points on a layup because the shot clock expired instead of just making a right pass and the dunk. Because if you get that dunk there and you're up 9, game's already over. So look, bad calls are a part of sports, but the physicality of the whole game. Here's a stat for you: the Knicks from 2-point range, I think, shot 19 of 58 from the field. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're coming in hard at the rim and with contact and with no call. And so look, I'm not gonna apologize for it. We've had games taken away from us because of bad calls in the past. We win games because of it too. I mean, it is what it is. You roll on, but to sit here and say we're the tough guys and then say, well, we're getting fouled all the time, but we're not going to whine about it. Well, to me, that sounds an awful lot like whining about it. Like you said, Jalen Brunson was a foul baiter. He had 2 free throws on his 30 points. What what are we talking about here? Like, I don't know. I'm tired of that narrative. I think it's false. And I just the Knicks deserved to win that game. They outplayed them for a good portion of it, and I'm not going to apologize for it, even if other people will. And it looks like we lost Queen for a minute, so um, I did want to acknowledge JJ and say that yeah, they did say that contact was incidental at the end there, but what contact is incidental and what contact isn't? There's no consistency involved with it. Like if you're calling it the same on both ends and we know what to expect from the physicality, I've got no problem with it. But they're so topsy turvy. Brunson gets manhandled a lot. They push on their screens a lot. On one play in the fourth quarter, I think Tim Hardaway Jr. literally blocked one of our guys into another one of the guys to get Cunningham open for that awesome dunk that he had. Well, that's not basketball. And if you're gonna come at me with the tough guy and we're gonna win this with physicality, don't lose me with the ticky tack nickel dime stuff. I'm not about that life. Oh, you were upside down for a minute. Are we back?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'm on my phone. I'm gonna have to put this in do not disturb. So give me 1 second.
You
Y'all
bet.
know my condition. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. All right.
And I promise I'll get off my soapbox about the officiating, but that I've been aggravated all series long, and the Knicks just need to get tough and close it out because these
All
Pistons
right.
are
There I
getting
am.
on my nerves.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jeff. And I would say yes, it was a foul, a slight foul, and I could see how the officials, given where they were, may have even missed it. Like on the replay, you definitely see it clearer than you do live. Because when I saw it live, it didn't look like it was, a foul to me. Yes, it was a foul, but this is the series you wanted. This is the series where you thought it would there would be the edge, the physicality. The officials can't let calls go the entire series, and particularly in this game, the way they let foul calls go and then call that foul at the end. It's just inconsistent with how they've been calling the game. How they've been calling the game. To me, you can't let uh, 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 a call by the official. Um, what do you call
Decide.
it? Decide the game when you were letting so much go throughout the game itself. So I felt like them not calling it was consistent with how they called the game. And to your point, listen, Kate Cunningham had an opportunity to put to put the game away. The Detroit had a what 9 point lead, 11 point lead, 8 point lead, whatever it is, and they couldn't hold on to it. So the unfortunate thing is that there's a lot of talk about the end of the game and not a lot of talk about the game itself for both Detroit fans and for the um before the Knicks fans. Listen, had we lost that game, well, anyway, we're gonna get into that. Who or what? other than that last call, who or what stood out for you in that game? Pick one thing, I'll pick something else, and I'll piggyback off of what you say. Um, yeah, if you could tell Jay Boogie that I DM'd the link to him and that it's the Queen's Court link. I'm using my phone, so I'm not going to be able to text him. So if somebody could let him know I DM'd him, it's the Queen's Court link. I appreciate it, fam. Jeff, who or what stood out for you?
I'm going to start in a place that you wouldn't necessarily expect. I'm going to start off with Mikal Bridges. Here's a guy who everybody was ready to hang from the highest yard arm if they still do that, whatever. He started off like 1 for 10 from the field. In the
Mhm.
fourth quarter, he hit two massive 3-pointers, and his defense was incredible, including that block at the rim that can't go understated considering we won by a single point. But I thought his physicality in the final 6 minutes, and I think he played 44 minutes. He didn't shoot the ball well, but he had some timely shots that helped us get back in the game. And so I think a lot of us have killed Mikal Bridges, and I know 8 points on 13 shots is far from ideal. He didn't have the perfect game, but as far as a little bit of redemption arc when the game was on the line, when it mattered the most, I felt like Bridges stepped up in a really positive way in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, just to piggyback off of what you said, listen, it's easy to point to his 3 for 12 shooting on the night. It's easy to point to even before he hit those two big threes, like how poor he was shooting. But just understanding that you can still be playing well, even though you're not shooting well. You can still be offering value to the team if your shot is not falling, right? And his defense on Cade Cunningham has been really, really solid, good actually. Um, in games 3 and 4, having someone other than OG, that can adequately check Mikal Bridges, and that if you take him out the game, you're not just taking out the poor shooter and putting in someone else and giving them an opportunity to basically to hit shots. Now, when you take him out the game because of his poor shooting, you're taking everything out with him. You understand what I'm saying? And you're coming back with somebody that's probably not as good defensively. That's going to be able to defend Cade Cunningham. So I Mikal Bridges has been really good in my opinion throughout the series. I think, yeah, to me, I think he's been good throughout the series. I don't think he's been perfect, but I don't think any of our players have been perfect. And the mental fortitude, the to be able to, when you're not shooting well, forget making them, taking them. And they were not easy shots. But this is somebody who, in my opinion, is just cold blooded. Like, this is somebody who's like, yo, this game is getting away from us. I have to do something. And pulled up for not one, but two 3-pointers in a row on a poor shooting night and knocked him down. A lot of respect for that dude. I don't, there's some players on all levels, not just the NBA level, who would have shied away from those shots because they weren't shooting well.
Players on our own team, OG
Mm,
Anunoby, Josh Hart. Uh, I think we've got players on our own team that fit that category. So absolutely 100%. And the other key is that with Deuce, not Wiz, if you're listening, close your ears for a minute. I'm going to talk about Deuce, and you're not going to be happy. But with Deuce struggling both on both ends of the court, 1 for 5 from three himself, we really don't have a
yeah.
great option for Bridges, right? We don't have somebody, and that's why I think one of the reasons you saw him play all but 4 minutes, because they're like, he literally was playing well enough where you couldn't take him off the floor, despite the fact that he had his Ray Charles glasses on from the field for 3.5 quarters.
Yeah, and another play I want to point out was that when he shot that air ball, which was like, come on, like Bridges, come on now, you shooting an air ball in a playoff game? Like, yo, lock in. He hit that shot that air ball And then he was the one on the transition after the air ball that blocked Cade Cunningham's shot on the other end. I was like, was that Bridges? So this is somebody who shoots the air ball. His head is not down. He's still into the game, into the play, rushes down to the other end and blocks the shot. I don't know. I know Bridges, chat, let us know if you think we're just overselling Bridges play, from last night. But in
Well,
a
OG
playoff
was
game,
3 of 13 from the field and didn't hit a single three. So I mean, if you want to say nothing else, he was the lesser of two evils. I'm not saying he was good offensively. He was not, even with the
yeah.
two makes. But
Hmm.
when the chips were down and we needed it, he made a couple of big shots, enough to let Brunson and
Oh,
Towns
oh, there
carry
he
us.
is. Boogie.
The party could start now. Say Boogie in the house.
How are you?
I'm great. I was just getting ready to go back on to the show and text you and let you know I've been back here. Give me 1 second.
Okay. All right, cool. I'm on my phone, so it's hard for me to text and this, and I tried to answer you. I got kicked off the show. Um, yeah, I think you were right on point in terms of bringing up OG. I mean Bridges. I'm gonna go with Captain Obvious, our captain, which is Jalen Brunson. But I want to preface it by saying this: as critical as I was of him in after game two, I want to be as what do you call it? What's the word, Jeff? I'm losing my words today.
Uh, Appreciative. Praise.
Appreciative. Let's go with appreciative of his play the last two games, particularly in game four. Listen, what Brunson did in game four, we've all seen this before in a playoff game. This is not new what we saw. But the key to me was when he was trying to get the ball to the post. First of all, that even though he had scored, I don't know how many points in a row, how many baskets in a row, he was still looking for OG in the post against, I don't know who it was, a smaller defender, instead of telling him to clear out, clear out. I got it. So that tells me he's still processing the game. Yeah, I hit 5 shots in a row, but he has an advantage. I'm gonna go to him. When he couldn't go to him because the smaller defender was fronting OG, that's when he found Cat on the other side of the floor and Cat hit the shot. So what that tells me is, because what I was critical of Brunson was how he was processing the game, his floor game, like head down, Allen Knight. Well, I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna diss Allen Knight. But this head down, I'm gonna take on the whole team. I don't see nothing else. Two, I'm gonna do what I do as I usually do it, but I also still see what's going on. You know, I see you in the post, OG. He's fronting you. I see you, Cat, on the other side, clear, nobody on him. And he made that pass, and Cat, and we'll talk about Cat as well, and Cat knocked it down. The way Brunson has been controlling this game, the way Brunson has been picking his spots, the way Brunson has been getting others involved. And when he came back, when Brunson went to the locker room, we had nothing. Cat, campaign, whoever you want to say. When Jalen Brunson went to that locker room, nothing was going on for us. So when he came back, that was his time, because that's one thing we wanted him to recognize. When is it time for you to put the ball in your hands and be like, yo, it's just time for me to drop 4 or 5 buckets in a row right now because things are getting stagnant? That was the perfect time because we couldn't get much while he was in the locker room. So I haven't heard a lot of ball hogging narratives. I haven't heard a lot of that, because I think fans recognize in this particular case it was needed. And like I said, it's nothing new, but it's just the way he was doing it and still processing the game is what stood out for me. Let me bring Jay Boogie back to the stage. Um, any piggyback off of that? So Boogie, what we're doing is each of us are picking who or what stood out in the game, and then we're piggybacking off of what the other is saying if we have anything to add. Geoff already talked about Bridges. I already talked about Brunson. Anything you want to add to any of those?
I mean, what stood out to me more than anything was the mental approach, and you saw that in game one of the third game. They mental approach when as soon as they got off the flight and got to, you know what I'm saying, to Detroit, they was locked completely in. And
Nice.
I knew that from the jump, you know, and I just love the energy and the effort that they brought on a professional business level. Not just playing basketball, but a professional business level, knowing that what we were going against in Detroit, knowing how they was going to be feeling, and knowing that, you know, they came off and still in the game in New York, knowing that they feeling like they should have won game one without the miracle, you know what I'm saying? And the going to Detroit, focused like they was, you know, I just appreciated the team as a whole and the organization as a whole for what they was going to do, you know, in Detroit. But I just want us to get together our third quarters. We're going to play against somebody that can really eliminate us in the third quarter and make it that much harder for us to get back in the fourth. Fourth quarter, we come to fight. I guess it's Nas, Ether, our back is against the wall. The fourth quarter, they come out fighting, you know, and everything. But
Hmm.
I mean, really what stood out the most to me yesterday, man, especially in the fourth quarter, Tom was really coaching, you know. Tom was really, you know, calling his shots and calling his plays and yelling and screaming and directing and making sure people are not forgetting and understanding your assignment play by play. That's less than possession of possession because he's yelling on defense and then he yelling on offense, you know, and then for him to take the ball out of Brunson's clutch hands late in that game after he don't hit clutch after clutch after clutch and knowing he had a clutch trade in game three in the fourth and put that shot in the Towns' hand, you know, for that trade, that late trade, not the sidestep, the corner one, that showed that Tom is really focusing. Okay, I know they're gonna probably key in on you. Let me get this shot to Towns, and he's hot. But really, I'm picking and choosing, and not enough people are giving Tom enough credit for that play call because it happened in the right way. If he didn't make that shot, they're wondering why he didn't get a ball to Brunson. Towns was hot, and Towns delivered. Um, I think this on the road series has landed Towns back in New York again. I think he realized I'm more than capable, and I'm going against some hard nosed goons on defense, especially in a hostile environment. I think Towns' game is going to elevate back to the first half of the season All Star Town from here on. I think he knows now. I got that.
Right. So you said a lot. So
Mhm.
we're trying to do them one. We're trying to do them one at one at a time.
Okay.
So you talked about Towns. You talked
Uh-huh.
about how the Knicks came out and played, and you
Mhm.
also talked about Towns. Let's say Towns for later.
Okay.
Um, let's which one? So I'll throw it over to did you have anything else you wanted to add? Because we already covered Brunson and Bridges. Anything you wanted to add on Brunson and Bridges?
Nah, y'all said pretty much. That's why I didn't speak about Brunson.
Okay,
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
fine.
You
That's
know,
fine.
I would just want to go somewhere else. But go ahead.
Yeah. Geoff, anything on Brunson? And if you want to piggyback off of one of the things
Well, I think my key with
Boogie said.
Brunson actually is the low turnover numbers. That's how you know its process is good. When he's forcing it, he tends to have sloppy turnovers. And in game 2, I think he had 6. I don't think he's had 6 in the other 3 games combined. And so I think that speaks a lot when he's playing the right way, when he's playing with good process, the turnover numbers are low. And so I don't know how you do that. You come back from a bum ankle and you drop 15 points in the fourth quarter. Like, who does that? Like, I've seen it before, but that doesn't make it not special every time you see it, which is what's incredible. It's like, how do you even do that? Like, I don't know how many things I saw on X that say, 3 players have done this, and it's like he and Michael Jordan and some other like all-time great Hall of Famer, and you're just like, the guy doesn't even get the respect of being the best player in the series. Like, what? I mean, come on, please. Brunson, playoff Brunson is another level, and he's the difference in the series, in my opinion. He's such a clutch playmaker in the fourth quarter, and knock on wood, but Detroit hasn't really found that in their roster yet.
You're right, Geoff. And I think the whole best player argument, not just when it comes to this series, just in general, a lot of people just base it on talent. A lot of people just base the best player on skill set. And and from in my opinion, I think in terms of being the best player, is more than talent, is more than skill set. It's about IQ. It's about not just how you do it. Your skill set kind of dictates how you can do it. Can you do it with speed? Can you do it with power? But what's missing a lot of times is when you do it. That is so important when the lights are the brightest. Like, when are you deploying all of this talent that that you have? And when you think about the greats, it was always when the lights shine the brightest. That's when you know they showed the talent all along, but it was in those moments that set them apart. You understand what I'm saying? So when you listen, I don't have nothing against Cade Cunningham is that dude, and if he has a better team around him, this is a totally different series. So I'm not taking anything away from him, but just in terms of this argument in general, there has to be a bit more emphasis on when you're getting it done. When the lights are the brightest and you really need a basket, the great ones, that's how they separate themselves. And that's what Brunson has been doing for a long time. And it was on display again. In this series, Kate is going to have many, many more opportunities, um, to do that. I'm not taking anything away from him. I want to go back to what Boogie was saying about Thibodeau. I was telling Geoff before the series, Thibodeau reminds me of Randall. When things aren't going well, everybody has so much to say about Randall. And when Randall is balling out, it's crickets. Like, that's the best you're gonna get is just crickets. Nobody's gonna say anything. And I often think that Tom gets too much criticism when things are not going well. And then when things are going well, he doesn't get, he doesn't get the praise. So if the team is not playing well and the team is not showing up, nobody is putting it on the players. Why are you not showing up? He done lost the locker room. They not playing for him. He don't know how to get the team ready. But yet you go into Detroit and you win both games. So if you're a fan who feels like it's on the coach to get the team mentally prepared, and if the team doesn't show up, it's the coach's fault, you got to be giving Tom Thibodeau praise now, just for giving him credit, I should say, for the team going into Detroit and winning both games. Now, for me, I think the coach has something to do with that, but I think to me, it's mostly on the players to get up for the game and make sure you're focused enough and execute in the beginning of the game and take the crowd um, um, out of it. So to me, I put most of that on the players. But just to piggyback off your Tom Thibodeau piece, I think Tom Thibodeau has set up the structure. made the necessary adjustments. In this particular series, I don't think you need to adjust from game to game to game. I think once you crack that code on this team and you figured out what the major adjustments need to be, now it's just a matter of the team executing. And I think Tom did that between game 2 and game 3. And now it's just a matter of just continuing that play. Anything else you want to say, Boogie, about the job that Tom Thibodeau's part, I should say, in getting us to 3-1?
Nah, it's not. You don't cover it up. After what I don't spoke upon earlier, you don't cover that up. It's just one small thing. It's only one other adjustment that I wish he would make,
Hmm.
and you got to hold everybody accountable. You can't just separate who you want to hold accountable. When Bridges won't playing good, you held him accountable and set him on that bench and had Cam. You gave Cam a moment. And I just want him to see if you can find the same thing in Shamit with Deuce. If Deuce is not ready, you know what I'm saying? I know Deuce is our guy. He play defense. Shamit can play some defense too. But we got to find a way to keep Shamit in some type of rhythm just in case, Jaheim, you need him somewhere else later on down the line in the future. But I mean, he's right on. He's been on point with what he's doing. I appreciate Coach, man. He's really into it. He wants to win, and he wants the guys to make sure they put it all out there on the floor. I mean, he's really, really Tom is locked in. And if Tom is locked in, it's no reason for the players not to be locked in. Y'all got to be locked in. And when both sides is locked in, that's only going to make us stronger on the court. So yeah,
Yeah.
I appreciate Tom. And you spoke about Brunson real quick. I have to just remind some people real quick. This guy just, he just beat out the Joker and Anthony Edwards. That's clutch player of the year. This is something that y'all getting, not y'all in the chat, because I always feel like I'm talking out to the world. This is something that we've been knowing all this time. Y'all getting y'all first on-site view. Whoa, he beat Joker and Ant. I gotta go tune in. Did you see what you've been missing? Have you seen what we've been saying about this guy? Why he's clutch? Why the bright lights is on? He makes them dimmer. He's not scared of the moment. No, nothing. So he's more than well deserving of that clutch award that he received. Probably could have gotten it last year, but that puts him on the map. That puts him further on the map. He's clutch as it can be. I got mad when he missed that floater. That
Yeah,
baseline floater.
amen.
I was gonna say, I'm like, the easiest one. You blew that one. But
Right,
yeah,
right.
and we got us one though. We got us a general. He ain't scared of nothing. Make a little few
Yeah.
mistakes here and there, but he not scared of the moment. He turn the ball over somewhere here and there, but he ain't scared of trying. He gonna get back. I'm happy with Brunson, man. Proud of the guy.
I have a super chat. Unfortunately, I'm not able to put it up on the screen, but CL Kenrick, I appreciate the super chat. Appreciate you rocking with us. Schroeder tried to injure Brunson in the third quarter. Do you think that was intentional?
I don't. I don't know. I
No,
don't think it was.
I don't know Schroeder like that. I know Schroeder's being a hard, aggressive. He plays hard basketball. He's one of them pests. You'll
Mhm.
love him on your team, but you hate to play against him. My issue and point of it is when you're a point guard, you're a ball handler, you're supposed to be able to bring that ball up court. Josh, get out the way. You clogged up some things that occurred to have that crashing going on. Now, if he's going to turn the ball over, let him turn the ball over by himself. But you can't just pick, let him get up court. If you want to help bring the ball up court, go get the ball and bring it up court. But Brunson receives the most pressures in the backcourt than any other point guard I have ever seen. I never seen nobody pressure a point guard so far in the backcourt like this guy is being picked up. And I don't understand it. He has a pretty good handle. Maybe it's because he's not fast or quick to go blow by you or whatever. You figure you might get an 8-second count. I don't know what it is.
Or
But I do
tired him
believe
out?
Yeah, yep, tire him out. And shit, when has that happened? To me, but
Mhm.
I just don't understand it, man. But Schroeder's not a dirty guy. He's not. He's not one of those type guys, to
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah. 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 Um, anything else about game? Oh, what I to your point, Boogie. In games 1 and 2, Bridges was bringing the ball up. Particularly when Brunson was being guarded by Thompson, and for whatever reason, we stopped that, and now Brunson is back to bringing the ball up the court. Again, it hasn't really hurt us. But I did notice that. I'm like, why is Brunson back to bringing the ball up? Anyway, anything else about game 4? Oh, we got to talk about Towns before we move on to the series. Jeff, why don't you take that away?
Well, 23-8 for the series on 52, 50, 100 shooting. And that's with having an awful game too. So, I think he watches our content because I remember saying the other day that Cat's not Pat. And then he goes and hits that 8-foot turnaround fadeaway Patrick Ewing jumper with Ewing in the audience. And then you're like, okay, I see you. And then the step back on that long three, like he caught the ball, he wasn't open, and he created the space. And I mean, I don't think he touched a single part of that ball didn't even touch the rim. It was so pure. Like I've never seen a player that tall shoot the ball that well in my whole life. And he's never going to be all defensive first team, but I think at times his defense has been really good in this series. So the
Absolutely.
one thing I will say though is I thought in the third quarter he tried to force it too much. He wasn't getting the calls and he continued to, you know, go in there like a bull in a china closet time after time after time instead of
Mhm,
take
mhm,
what the understanding the situation, seeing that you're not going to get the calls, take what the defense is giving you as
mhm.
opposed to just trying to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. I think that had a lot to do with our 14-point third quarter. Was his process. We use that word a lot right now, I know, but his process in the third quarter was bad. In the fourth
Mhm.
quarter, he stepped up huge. I mean, Brunson gets the credit deservedly, but he and Cat combined outscored the Pistons the entire fourth quarter, 23-22. That tells you all
Yeah,
you need to know.
yeah. A Boogie, anything you want to add to that on Towns?
I just want him to realize his matchup and understand what's best for him is matchup. Too many times, you know, he's too far away from the basket trying to go one on one. He's taking too many dribbles and forcing it. Captain just said about the force. Sometimes, sometimes he was looking like a athletic Bill Cartwright way out there. Come on, no, get closer to the because dude he's playing against, he's kind of athletic, so it makes it hard for him to, he can move his feet. It's not like you playing Lopez or somebody beating them off the dribble. Get a little bit further down there in that paint. And I'm surprised Tom didn't know it. Let me help you out a little bit, big fella. Let me get you closer to the basket. But
Yes.
the shots that he's making in the fourth quarter, that fade away behind almost the back. Well, he did that back-to-back games. He did that in game 3. The confidence to have to take these shots, and with the level of the game is at, man, that's big for him, man. That's why I say I think Cat has really landed here and arrived to our city again in these playoffs. I don't think he's scared of the moment no more. And I really do believe that he can't wait to next series. That's where I feel right now. Cat is going to be on his best ball control come that next series.
Yeah. And to your point, that fadeaway started at the 3-point line. It started at the 3-point line. He dribbled down into the post to take
Yes.
that fake and that turnaround jumper. To your point, the long strides he had to take to get all the way over to the other part
Mm-hmm.
of the court. But I agree with you. It reminds me of Bridges. Bridges wasn't shooting well, and he had
No.
the confidence to pull up for those two shots. And at the same thing for Cat. Brunson just hit 5, 6, 7 shots in a row. You know, he that tells me that he's still in the game, still,
Mm-hmm.
waiting for his opportunity. And when he got it, I think that was what, 8 straight points. Because it was the 3-pointer on the pass from Brunson, the turn-away jumper, and then that step back was crazy. He
Mm-hmm.
hit the step back. I said, "Oh, we about to bring this home," So yeah, he's what's not talked about enough is that he's a great teammate. When
Mm-hmm.
he's not getting the ball, you never hear anything in the locker room from him. You don't hear anything come sliding out in the papers that came out of a private interview with a reporter. Nothing.
Right.
Nothing. And after game two, same thing in the beginning of the season when he wasn't getting the ball. In one game he took, I don't know, 5, 8, 10 shots, whatever it was, and then
Right.
things changed after that. Pretty much the same thing. Game two, he got a few shots. Things changed after that, and he's been money. Jeff, anything you want to add on Towns' play in game four, and then we'll get into the series overall.
No, I said my piece first, so we're
Mm-hmm.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey,
Um,
real quick, like
l-
when you
yeah,
was talking about, with Bridges taking them shots and he ain't been making a shot. I just wonder, it's because it's one of the two. I wonder if it's somebody out there on the floor, maybe the captain, reminding him, yo, stay ready. You
oh
know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
he
Cam
Because,
said
Payne
so.
was on him. Cam
huh?
Payne was on him, Boog.
But
Payne
that's
was
that's
saying he was telling him, "You got to shoot the ball."
That's what's happening. Stay ready, because the next one can fall. Forget the last one. That's when you know where the team is growing. When they're there for one another and they know one another's capability and they remind them, yo, you are capable of making this shot. That's big on Cam, man. Shout out, salute to Cam, man. Doing your thing, man.
Yeah, I mean, he said, listen, he was struggling. He said, but his teammates, he said he has confidence in himself, but
Right.
his teammates also give him confidence by telling him, keep shooting, keep shooting, keep
That's
shooting,
right.
you know?
That's
So,
right.
and to your point, yes, Cam definitely did say that he was telling him to shoot the ball. Um, let's move into the series overall. Are any one of you surprised at how competitive each game has been?
I'm not surprised. I'd say y'all didn't like it when I said it in game one, but I thought every one of these games was going to be a war. And I think we're the more talented team, but this Detroit team is physical. They play good defense. They're young. They're athletic. They have a lot of player types that kind of give us difficulty with their length and athleticism. So I I thought every game was going to be a street fight, but the cream rises to the top, and that's what we've seen in 3 out of 4 times so far. So I'm not surprised at the competitiveness of it. It's playoff basketball, and this is a team that won 44 games this year, and
Mhm.
they won 22 on the road. So they're young, they're inexperienced, but they're not just going to lay over and die. Like they're too good a team to just expect you're going to steamroll them, in my opinion.
I'm gonna be 100% all the way real. If Ivy is here and Stewart is playing, this is an even tougher series. This is even tougher. If they rookie
Mhm.
is playing and Stewart, this is, man. It might have been a fight out there, especially if Stewart was out there. For real. I'm just being real. But they're reminding me so much of us last year with that grit play, the way they played when we was down players and we were just playing on pure adrenaline and hard and dedication and work. That's how they play. The talent, they got one talented, gifted guy, and he's looking like the three Youngs / Jerry Stackhouse, Grant Hill, and Allen Houston in Detroit. You know, um, they got to learn. But I'm proud of our team. It's gut grit. All the rumors they've been playing that way against us all year and everything. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes down to that moment, when that game is on the line and it's win time, you have to be special and you have to been there before, and they have not been there before, and it's really showing up right now. And I'm just glad that we can take advantage of those moments. You know, we should have swept them. If we know we're gonna win 3 straight, we should have won game 1. Game 2. But that's never here nor there. But this is a tough series, and it's only gonna get us prepared for next one.
Yeah, I thought the Knicks would win in 5, and that's yet to be seen, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the fan base or the Knicks can just, automatically check it off that the Knicks are going to win tomorrow night. You're not going to win just because you're at home. You're going to have to come out and you're going to have to pretty much play the way you've played, throughout this series. So I, I think what I'm most surprised at, and I would say even proud of, is how the Knicks have responded to the physicality of um, Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that they would be a physical team. I knew that they beat us what 3 out of 4 in the regular
Mm-hmm.
in the regular season, and that they
Yes,
were
man.
very confident playing against us. And I had some concerns about the Knicks mentality. I'm like, listen, if we get a lead in this series, can we hold it? If we get down in this series, will we be able to come back? When we lost game 2, I was like, oh boy, are we gonna go into game 3 and with that crowd be down 15 before you even blink your eye? Like, I didn't have a read on this team in terms of their mental fortitude, because it was up and down. Like I've mentioned this
Mm-hmm.
before. You go a stretch of watching them like this is a mentally tough team, and then they do something, and you're like, nah, 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 not yet, not yet. What surprised me is how quickly the Knicks became a physical team. How quickly the Knicks, um, became a better defensive team. Like before our eyes, with both Brunson and Cat on the floor, they've become a better defensive team. So that surprised me, like that they matched the physicality, that their defense got better, that they got out to a good start in both game 3 and game 4 and won both of those games. Like those things surprised me about this team. I knew they had it in them, but I hadn't seen it. It's like they're just growing up before my eyes um, you know, in this series. And the last thing I'll say before I hand it off is you need timely stops. Like Carl Anthony Towns may not be a defensive juggernaut, but he got some timely rotations and some helped us get some timely stops. You know, um, we got those 3 pointers from those 2 3 pointers from Bridges were timely. He didn't shoot well throughout the entire game, but those 2 3 pointers brought us within 3 when the game could have went the other way. So when you're in these tough battles, you need the timely stops, you need the timely shots, and the Knicks are getting them. Anything else about how competitive this series has been? All right.
Good.
What do you think, again, looking at the series overall, what do you think was the major difference for you between how we played in game 2 and how we played in games 3 and 4 in Detroit? Boogie. Let me just shout out the chat. By the way, I'm not able to put up comments, but I appreciate everyone being active in the chat. Nostalgic, um, Nick Yak, JJ, Kevin Bergen, LV Shore, NY Bro 99, HRMX Gray. I'm not gonna get to everybody, DG Films, but I appreciate you. I'm reading the chat, I'm following the chat, and A Train. She said, I'm not a Tibbs fan, but he coached well yesterday. So I'll give him his props. Yes. Corey B. All right. So, like I said, I can't highlight them, but I will read some of them out. Yes. Boogie.
Say that question one more time.
For you, what was the biggest difference between how we played in game 2 and how we played in games 3 and 4?
The defense, the effort, being relentless, chasing the stats that don't show up, in the major columns, the rebounds, the assists, the points, the turnovers, and all that. That major. There was a possession yesterday, whereas we was on the offense, we shot, we missed, and the ball got tipped, and it looked like it was getting ready to throw it ahead and get like a fast break, and somebody else tipped the ball, and another Knicks player dived over the half-court line, tipped it back, and went over somebody's head, and Brunson had grabbed it, and I was like, those are the type plays that we never won. Those effort plays, and just
Facts.
the will for them to make sure that they was locked in on, on all everywhere that Spalding go, it was locked in. And just the defensive present, they're playing great defense, better defense than the regular season, but
For
you're
sure.
supposed to. When it's playoffs, everything is supposed to go up
Mhm.
way better than what it was in the regular season. But just the defensive effort is what I'm appreciating more. And y'all don't spoke upon it. Towns is not doing many of those, goofy, plays that he was doing in the regular season in this money time, So like he kept his hand out of the cookie jar. I'm like, Tom, take his butt out that game. He got 4. You know he will. You know he will. And I think he played like 5, 6 possessions, and he didn't get that 5th foul. That was big. Just being locked in for the moment. All the way around, the team is locked in. So my biggest thing is the defense. And I'm very high on the defense. And it's looking like 90s basketball / 2002. But yeah, I'm happy with the defensive effort more than anything. Better than what we was doing in the Garden. Must get stops. Everybody talk about offensive runs. The Knicks have made some defensive runs on defense. And that's big. Making sure you secure rebounds.
Mhm.
Whole team not leaving until we get the ball. Nobody's leaking out. Just the small things. So yeah, I'm happy with the squad right now. What they did in Detroit. Now let's give them their fisherman hats for the season tomorrow night. Make me look good on Instagram and on Twitter, because I talk highly about that right there. Don't want to go back. I want to see it's Jalen Brunson, not Jalen Rose. I don't want to see them stupid glasses. I don't want to see Chris Webber. Yeah, call another time. I don't want to see none of them. None of them no more. Not this season.
Magnum Boone said we showed some grit finally. The team played more like a cohesive unit
Yes.
defensively. Yeah, facts. Yeah. Jeff, what have you noticed the most? You can piggyback off of Boogie if you want to, but what have you noticed the most between game 2 and 3 and 4?
Well, I was gonna kind of save this for the turning point of the series, but I mean it's the same answer, so I have to go with it. And shout out to my guy Nostalgic Nick, because he said the same thing in the chat. I think that confrontation between Paul Reed and Cat woke the sleeping bear. I think the Knicks were just kind of in like cruise control mode, and
Mhm.
then all right, you're gonna punch me in the arm. Now I'm gonna punch back. And once they started to punch back, and people never learn this lesson with Brunson either. They always want to agitate him and get on him. And when you make that dude angry, he's like the Hulk. He's gonna tear you apart, and he's gonna flip you upside down. And you're a puny god compared to him. You can't do nothing. So I really think that was like that was the moment, in my opinion, where the Knicks were like, we're going to embrace the physicality of the series. We're not going to get pushed around anymore. We're tired of the talk. We're tired of the mess. We know we can play physical. We did it against Cleveland. We've been through the wars against Miami. Let's show these young pups that we know how to play that brand of basketball too. And that, oh, by the way, we also have the two best players in the series. And
Say that again.
we also have the two best players in the series, and you can't stop either one of them.
That's right. Starters.
Yeah.
Starters.
Yeah.
All stars.
Yeah. I mean, listen, to piggyback off of what you said, Jeff, we realized we had the two best players in the series. That was the biggest difference between game 2 and game 3, right? Game 2, Towns took 2 shots. You know, we were like on self-check. We were helping them by not getting Cat and, involved. And now they have to pick their point. Listen, you want to keep Tobias Harris on him, he's just going to score over him or through him if that's what you want to do. But then if you switch it and you put Dorman on him, that's good too. Now you bringing Dorman out the paint where he was guarding Hart. Now he's out the key. You know, your rim protection, that backline defense. Now you're opening things up in the key for cuts and things like that. So Cat is a problem. And the Knicks figured it out. See, what was happening is we were focusing on, oh, what's going on with Josh Hart? He's so bad, he can't shoot. They putting a center on him, and now their center is at the rim clogging things up. No, this was the issue. The issue was we weren't taking advantage of the small that they put on Cat to force them to change. Right? And that's what, and listen, they're still keeping Harris on Towns, and they just living with it. It's when Harris gets into foul trouble that they kind of move Doran onto him.
But that's the thing.
However it happens, Towns is feasting. And I think Brunson is finally figured out. You and Cat, the others, they're gonna get what they're gonna get off of Cat and Brunson as the team make their adjustments and they want to double and they want to do this. All you got to do is camp out. You're gonna get good looks. If you're OG, if you're Bridges, if you're Hart, you're gonna get good looks. If you cut to the basket, both of those guys can pass. Now you see the offense smoking. So I think the biggest change for me between 2 and 3 was the recognition of Cat, using Cat. And Tom he said it a few times in the press conference. Yeah, we're seeing him more, but he's also trying to be seen. In other words, he's flashing and getting himself involved. To me, that was that changed the series. That changed the series. Getting him the threes in transition. Just taking advantage of his, of his skill set. He had like what? 1 or 2 threes in the first 2 games per game. Now he's up to like 5 a game of some, or some, one game did he take 8 or something like that? Whatever it was.
Yeah, I think it was 4 of 8 in game 3. I think that's right.
4 of 8 in game 3, yeah. He's, now he's blooming, and when he blooms, everybody now gets to bloom. So that was the biggest thing between 2 and 3. Anything else?
Yeah, you said something that was great, and I thought of it. So with the Towns Harris thing, yeah, they can put him on there, but he can't guard him. That's why he had 5 fouls. He can't check him. Like all he can do is foul him. So if you want to take Harris out of the game by putting him on Cat, and he can chirp at him all he wants to, but I ain't gonna do you no good. I mean, and the other thing that I wanted to say is 49 shots between Cat and Brunson in game 4. That's more like it. Everybody else was under 15 shots. 26, I think, for Brunson, 23 for Towns. That's the formula that we need moving forward. Get Cat that steady diet of shots. JB's going to get his, and that's the way that. And look, even if they're not on, you live or you die with that. You're okay because they're your 2 best players. If you lose with your 2 best players taking all the opportunities, I don't have a problem with that. If you lose because Cat only doesn't touch the ball in the last 18 minutes, I have a problem with that.
Right.
Go down with your best stuff, right?
Right. And Brunson is realizing that. And he need to continue on realizing that, because this is the best offensive surrounding that you have had in New York, Brunson. The best. Last year was injury prone, blah, blah, blah. And then even before that, we didn't know what we was going to get with Julia, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Only thing that you really had rocking with you last year was Dante and Josh. But now, and you had OG until he got hurt. But now
Right.
you have a full capacity in that starting five. And
Facts.
we need to start talking more about the best starting five again. That's what I want to see y'all as being talked about again, where everybody assignments is rocking and everybody is involved, you know what I'm saying, outside of their assignments. We know we got the wing defensive players. Anything extra they give us, that's better for the team. And long
Right.
as Towns and Brunson, they doing what they doing, like Cap said, 49 shots, you know what I'm saying? And Josh is doing what he does. Shout out to Josh. He kickstarted that game
Yes, we
yesterday.
haven't
We
mentioned
ain't
Josh
missing right now,
today.
So,
Ooh.
but yeah, this is the best that Brunson has had.
Yeah. I think the other thing that stood out to me is that we didn't do. I don't think we did it as much in Game 4. That Brunson Towns pick and roll, like in the fourth quarter of Game 3, we went to that over and over and over and over
Mhm.
again. So I just don't want us to forget about that. Um, as well. I mean, I guess they know when to use it and when not to use it, but I didn't see much of it in game 4.
Right.
Yeah,
especially in the
yeah, I
third
didn't see.
quarter.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Hart in this series. The little plays, you need that. You need that that what do you call it? When Kate was driving to the basket and he hit it off of him and we got an extra possession. He hit it
Mhm.
over Doran back when we were making our run. That might have been the third quarter. Hit it off of Doran, gave us an extra possession. And when Bridges couldn't get out to Hardaway, Hart hauled ass to get over there to make sure he contested um Tim Hardaway. He almost stepped on Bridges' head. Like he was gonna get over there to make sure
Yes.
he could, and he got all the way there. Shout out to Josh Hart, man. What have you two seen from him in this series?
I just go real quick. When you think I'm nowhere, just know I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere where the team needs me to be and where I'm supposed to be, because somebody else might not be there. If you miss your assignment, I'm there for the cover up. He's just
Hmm.
everywhere on the defensive board, the offensive board, the relentless plays. He got his nose in everything like he's supposed to. That's the Josh Hart that we love and we appreciate. We love
Facts.
the triple double Josh. We love getting that right there, you know what I'm saying? But this Josh right here, what he gives and provides to the players, is a duplicate of what he was doing last year. And that's more important than anything. He's not scared of the moment. He's home and he know what he needs to do. And knowing what you need to do and doing it, those are two different things. He provides both of them. I know what I need to do, and I'm going to make sure I do what I'm supposed to do. And also, I'm going to make sure y'all doing what y'all supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Then PJ going to talk on the bench. I'm going to talk out here on the floor. So, man, yeah, shout out to Josh Hart, man, the warrior, the others, the silent warrior, we got two red-nosed pit bulls, you know what I'm saying, in that starting lineup. They two of them now. It's not just Brunson, you know what I'm saying? He's a warrior. But we got another warrior in Josh, and man, I'm just so happy for him. Just close this thing out tomorrow. I don't want to go to Detroit. I want to finish, and I don't want Boston to get no more rest than what we're going to get. I want to make sure we get the same amount of rest, finish the same amount of time, because when we playing tomorrow, they're playing tomorrow. Forget what they doing, handle our business. Don't be looking up the scoreboard, try to see their scores, none of that. You know what I'm saying? Handle your own business and then we'll move on. We going to Boston. That's closer, not Detroit. Boston.
Yeah, I love Josh Hart. I think that so much of what he does is not calculable, but uh, his
Facts.
rebounding is essential. But I think we really need more from him on that front. He and Towns both need to rebound more. I think Towns is well below his series average, and Hart's been doing a good job, but we need every rebound we can get. And I don't know if it's the size that's bothering him or what, but and I love Josh Hart's game, but I've noticed, especially lately, when it comes to transition defense, Hart gets lost a lot. Like
Mhm.
he's too attracted to the ball when there's and he ends up leaving a wide open three-pointer. And I've noticed that he has these lapse moments defensively, which is so unlike every other part of his game. So for me, just focus on that stuff because that's fixable. Like you should know that your guy's got the paint. You got to get out to the corner on the shooter. He's trying to double team inside and leaving it for a wide open look for Tim Hardaway Jr. from the corner. And of course, he made it, and that got him going a little bit. No, trust your guy inside, get where you're supposed to be, cover the spot you're supposed to be, and then let the rest come. But other than that, Hart's been terrific. I mean, he does a little bit of everything. He's jack of all trades, master of none. He's one of those guys who on one possession you're gonna want to strangle him and then kiss him on the same. You know what I mean? Because he's gonna do something that makes you want to lose your mind, and then he's gonna do something that is just so incredible that you're just like, how in the world did that even happen? Like
Yeah.
he's a very polarizing figure on like possession to possession basis, but you know, for a team that doesn't really have a lot of good options off the bench, he's kind of forced into a starting role, and he provides quality minutes, and that's really all you can ask.
Say hi to the
Yeah.
queen and say hi to the captain.
Hi,
All right, let's
Captain.
go.
Hey, how are
Hey,
you?
hey.
Yeah, I mean, I think for every one or two boneheaded plays, there's like 10 or 12, good plays. But you're right, Jeff. I mean, there was a foul in one of these games. The games are like running together now. There was a foul in one of those games. I was like, what was that? Like, what was that? You know? But then he just comes up with some, he just comes up with some, some really big plays. Yeah. Who's your unsung hero in the series so far?
Hmm,
For me, it might be Cam
good choice.
because that game that he gave us that was real crucial. We
Yeah,
needed that. I think that was game one, right?
it was game one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Without his energy, his effort that he brought onto the floor that game one, and knowing that we lost game two, we could have went Detroit 0-2. I know what we did, and I know the miracle that happened in the fourth quarter. I get that, but it's always the journey to where you get to. You know
right.
what happens in between, and for him to come in when Bridges was having an off game, and then for Tom to stay with him. Game one was really, my unsung hero with Cam, being able to step out there on the floor in a playoff magnitude, and he'd never been he never had this orange and blue on in the playoffs before. For him to come out there and show y'all, this is what I do. Energy, effort, great grind. This is what I do. I made a couple of bonehead mistakes here and there, but I'm gonna give you my all. And he gave it to us game one. So I'm gonna go with Cam as being my hero so far.
That's a great that is that I had forgot. I forgot about Cam when I'm searching for unsung heroes. Listen, and sometimes it gets so tight in these. It's a game of inches. It's one turnover, it's one deflection, it's a one key shot or a key performance off the bench that makes a huge difference in the series. And you're right, Boogie. We got that from Cam in game one. Jeff, for you?
OG Ananobi. I like
Yeah.
OG's got such a difficult assignment. A lot of the time he's on Cade, and he just
Okay,
he
I'm
a
not
lot.
done.
And what I've noticed is a lot of what the Knicks have done defensively, it's just kind of let whether it be OG or Bridges, kind of play Cade one on one and try and stop everybody else and get in the passing lanes, but try and just keep him in front and make his life miserable and make it hard for him. And you see, even when he's making shots, for the most part, it's a tough contest. It's a hand in his face. And he hasn't had the offensive series that any of us have wanted, but the Knicks defense has been outstanding, and Anunoby is a really big
Standing.
part of that.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, you anything piggyback off of that book?
Yeah, with OG. Oh yeah, and he let it be known. We're not going through that tomorrow. He come tomorrow. He said it in his interview. I know y'all been setting them ugly screens and everything, trying to keep me off you. But I believe OG's get ready to say. You know, they used to say back in the days when they pick you, run through their picks so they picks can get softer, or they might not want to set picks no more. I think this is what you're going to see OG doing tomorrow. He's going to go through some picks tomorrow because we know they're going to try to keep him off Cunningham. Shout out to OG, man. Shout out to OG. Everything he's doing, he provide all year too.
Yeah, yeah, that's a tough cover. And even
Mhm.
when even when Cade has 25 points, 30 points, whatever it is, the efficiency is not there. It's
Right.
25 points on 25 shots, 23 points on 25, well, like whatever it is. That's what you're hoping from your defensive players. You're not shutting these guys down to 10 or 12 points. You're not
Mhm.
doing that. You're just hoping that they're gonna get their counting stats, but that it takes them a lot of shots in order to do it. And OG and I don't wanna, well, I'll get to my unsung hero if a starter can be an unsung hero. And I'm picking Mikal Bridges. He game one and two, K eyes lit up anytime Mikal Bridges switched on to him.
Mhm.
And he would bump Mikal and get 3 feet clearance to pull
Mhm.
up, for his shot. And I'm not sure what happened between game two and game three. If they said, look, 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 OG can't guard this guy. I mean, he can. We don't want OG to be the only one guarding this guy for every minute he's in the game. We
Right.
need you to do a better job guarding Cade Cunningham. And I'm not
Mhm.
saying he's been perfect, but he's been much better in game three and game four. So now OG can get rest, if you want to call it that, and
Right.
and 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 guard somebody else. Now he can be in the back line of defense because when he's guarding Kane, now you got OG up top. OG is really good when he's in the back line of defense, seeing what's going on ahead and where he can help and things of that sort. He's playing Cade, he up top. We don't have any of that. And so being able to put Bridges on him helps. And Bridges' effort, watch Bridges. He's everywhere too, running all around, making sure he's contesting shots, also trying to give us something on the offensive end, trying to make it difficult for Cade Cunningham, and those 2 3 pointers in game four. I keep coming back to that. Listen,
Don't forget that block neither.
don't forget that block after he hit that air ball. He
Mm-hmm.
sprinted down to the other end and got the block. That tells me he focused.
Yeah.
He's still in the game even after uh, um uh, air ball. Like I can't even put my head down. I have time to put my head down.
Mhm.
They going the other way.
Mhm.
So
Not
um
staying in the same play, moving on to the next play. And that split moment of a second, okay, that's over and done with. Boom, gone. That's what you
yeah,
need.
yeah. And another thing that tells me, Boogie, about all of them, they understand that the playoffs is a game of inches. They
Mhm.
understand that every possession counts. They understand
Mhm.
that you don't even have time to think about the last play because you have to stay present on to the next play because of just the urgency of the situation. I don't think people like really understand. Like, it's not hyperbole when they say you can lose the game in the first half. You may lose focus, the team go on a run, and you never have an opportunity to get back get back into a game. So
That's right.
I'm picking Bridges as my unsung hero. What would you like to heading into this close? Anything else? Anybody want to piggyback off of anything?
Nah, Bridges is a
Um,
good deal. You react. You don't want to watch because when we watch, we get that dagger tray like Schroeder hitting the Garden. When you watch it, react, move on. Don't stand still in the same play. Move to the next play. So yeah, that's pretty
yeah,
much it.
yeah. Shout out to Devon Ambitious, Bring the Ruckus podcast. He said, "Are y'all Knicks fans happy with this series? I feel like Knicks are in trouble to be struggling with a young team. What's your thoughts on that?"
Any series you can walk away from is a good one. That's what I'm going to say. Any series where we get 4 wins is a good series. I don't get like you can say, yeah, I want to get rid of them in 4, get rid of them. Like, we're in position to gentlemen sweep them. I mean, that, like, has it been pretty? No. But that's playoff basketball. Like, I think it's very rare that you have a situation like Cleveland where you just, like, in Oklahoma City, they just bludgeon their opponents upside the head. But that's part of getting to play the 8th seed too. Even Boston has had their struggles with a game Orlando Magic team as the 7th seed. The Lakers are down 3-1. The Rockets, I think, are tied or losing their series. So any series you can walk away from is a good one. I'm not about style points. I'm not about any of that stuff. Like, I think Jay Boogie is exactly right. We need to get this over with so we can match Boston's rest or do better. Like, we don't want to be having to play extra games, but up 3-1, I'm good.
Especially after winning 2 games on their floor. I've been telling myself this is what I've been saying, and that's a good question. To the person that that asked that in the chat. But how I look at it is like this. I think we're more prepared for Boston now than Boston are more prepared for us. And reason why I say that, both teams are playing against 2 teams that are playing gritted out, grinded out defense. Detroit is playing that, and Orlando is playing that. The difference between us and Orlando, if we continue on playing the defense like we playing, Boston is not playing that many scores on Orlando as we have on our team. And if our team comes to score and put it out there on the defensive end, then we're going to show up to some more games in the playoffs against Boston than what we did in the regular season.
Yeah, Boogie. Yeah, I think you hit it. You hit it on the head. The defense we playing now, I'm pretty sure when they put this team together, this is what they were thinking. That, all right, Brunson and Cat, they're not the greatest defensive players, but if we put these 3 around them and they can just near average and maybe in closing moments lock in a little bit, we should be okay. We didn't
Mm-hmm.
see that in the regular season, but we're seeing it now. And I think this is a different team. This is a different team from the first 2 games. And if we do close out this series, and I believe we will, this is going to be a different team heading into that Boston series. What do we need to do to close this series out tomorrow night at the Garden?
One
First
thing,
quarter, punch them right in their mouth. Don't even play no game. Punch them right in their mouth early. And as soon as we do that, the crowd is going to get further into it. And don't do nothing to upset the crowd. As long as the crowd's still going off, that means we're doing a lot of good things. Just get rid of them. Don't let going to Detroit to win back home court advantage stop you from ending this series. When we was down, you went to Detroit in the mind frame, okay, let's get this home court advantage back. You did that already, and then some. Don't let what you did in Detroit be a waste. Handle your business. Eliminate these guys. Have more TNT and have Charles and Kenny and them have them separated in fishing boats and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I want to see Cunningham. I want to see him on a boat with Trick, and I want to see Stewart ride with M&M. You know, trying to find 8 Mile or something. I want to see it over with tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Jack?
Well, it's been 26 years since the Knicks have closed out a playoff series on their home floor.
Wow, is
Almost
that long?
10,000 days. It was 1999 Game 6 against the Indiana Pacers. That was the last home playoff series we closed out at the Garden. When I saw that stat, it blew my mind. And I'm just thinking of that DMX song where he says, bust him in the eye, head wide open, begging me to stop. At least he died hoping. I don't even want to give him the hope. I don't even want to give him the hope. Like, I want to just bury him. I want to kill him. I want to like get out to a hot start early and steamroller them, stomp on their grave, and make them understand that you don't disrespect the Knicks anymore. You might have thought you came into our building and your stuff didn't stink, but you in the big boy league now. We the top dog in this fight. Get on out of here.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. The Knicks, the way they went into game 3 and 4 and took that crowd out the game by getting off to a good start and playing with urgency and playing with pace. If you do the same thing in game 5, you're going to get your home court crowd with you. And that's what you need. Take their crowd out of it, but you home now. You want to get your crowd into it by coming out and playing good basketball to start this. I don't want this to be a dogfight going down with three minutes left in game. I mean, if it
Exactly.
comes to that, I like our ability to close, but that's not what I want.
Mm-hmm.
I want us to knock this out the first, second quarter. What we didn't talk about, and this is what I'm hoping doesn't happen, is we get out to this big 16-point lead or 15-point lead, whatever it is, and we playing like we did. And
Mm-hmm.
that's for we rushing shots. We up 15. Bridges coming down, pulling up for a three. I'm like, yo, relax. You got to learn how to play with a lead. Now, listen, it's the NBA. They're gonna go on a run, but don't help them by taking shots early in the shot clock. So what I'm hoping tomorrow is that we get out to a big lead and we do a better job than we did in the first half of game 4 in terms of bending but don't break. They're gonna go on a low run, but not get all of it, get all of it back. That's what I'm hoping for tomorrow. Close this game out. Don't give us a heart attack, blood pressure medication up, cholesterol up. Like, let us just relax and have an easy peasy nice win. We need that, you know?
That's not the Nick way, though.
Hey Queen,
That's
I
not
wanted
the
to
Nick
make
way.
sure I
That's
hear.
what we want. But
Wanted to make sure I hear your last take. You see, I just put my little one down. So let me.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
going
yeah.
to wrap it
Yeah,
up,
we getting
man.
ready to close out anyway. Appreciate you.
I just wanted to tell you thanks for y'all shouting me out for my born day. I turned 58. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
58 years. God has blessed me to live through 57 and start, fresh on his 58. Also, shout out to my wife. As I spoke with Queen earlier, today this week, the 24th was our 6-year anniversary. So shout
Nice.
out to my wife, my partner, Miss Boogie herself, and my household. And shout out to the chat. Y'all always my family outside of my household, and I love and appreciate y'all to the fullest. And last thing I'm gonna say, I got 2 of the 3 C's. The first C, when Leon Rose named him the captain. The second C is when they named him the clutch player, which we already knew he was clutch, but now the world you can see. Jalen, Mr. Brunson, bring me that third C, and that's that championship. I don't care when you do it, but I believe you're going to do it. Shout out to y'all. Y'all have
Facts.
amazing good night, man. And make sure
Appreciate
you
you.
hit that like button, subscribe, share the, you know what I'm saying, the content. Tell a friend to bring a friend next time, you know what I'm saying? Get alert when the queen comes on. And salute, salute, salute. 3 capital S's to my sister. And salute, salute, salute.
Appreciate
3
you.
capital S's to the captain, man.
My guy.
Appreciate you, Boogie. Happy birthday again and happy anniversary.
Thank you.
All right. My guy. My guy. Shout out to Josh, aka Uncle Fulio. What I'm hoping is tomorrow we beat the hell out of them, just like Cleveland is beating Miami right now to close the series. Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. Um, all right. Shout out to the chat. Any last words, Jeff?
Queen, thank you for another great Queen's Court. I always love this stuff. It's always great to hang out with you and blessed by Jay
Mhm.
Boogie and the chat. Always a great time. Uh, Look, don't play with your food, Knickerbockers. Do not play with your food. TCB, let's get these guys out of here and then on to bigger and better things. But you got to take care of this first because 3-1 lead turns into game 7 at the Garden real quick. So we need to take
Right,
this seriously
right.
and get them on out of here. You got them on the edge of the cliff. You got to push, get them falling the rest of the way. Don't give them confidence. Don't give them hope. Don't give them a chance. We gotta crush them.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, no doubt about that. And maybe we'll get some bench production tomorrow. That's something we didn't get into, and that's fine. We don't have to go into it,
You
but
mean the
hopefully we'll
5 points we got on again in game 4 wasn't enough for you?
no, and how much of it the chicken or the egg conversation, how much of it is Tom Thibodeau not giving them an opportunity to produce, and how much of it is them not producing in the time that they get, and Tom Thibodeau knowing every possession count, just feeling like, you know what, I'm just gonna rock out with the essentials. You're like,
Well,
hey,
Queen, I ordered
essentially.
chicken and eggs on Amazon, so we'll find out.
Oh man, but hopefully we'll get some bench play tomorrow. Anyway, salute to the chat, salute to the replay gang, and salute to those who watch and don't comment, whether that's in the live chat or don't comment when they watch the show. We appreciate you guys as well. Shout out to Sam, the creator of the channel. Appreciate you, Sam, and Tony Crowe and
Yeah, we
Lady
miss
and
you,
the Chef
bro.
who couldn't be here tonight. Yes, absolutely. We miss both of y'all. And we'll see y'all next time. Peace.